So part of this, like, I realize that what I'm looking for, like why I feel so empty, is because I have this, like, I'm in a search for meaning. Like, I need to rediscover who I am. I've lost myself along the way. I realized that I think it might have, some of it goes back to high school, which I'm discovering. Like, a lot of things I just never dealt with, which is fine. Like, that's the past. But I'm understanding, though, what's led me up to this, like, huge break. Even in college, like, I moved to New York. I wanted to get away from Chicago. I moved away when I was 17, and within my first semester, I met a guy who I started dating. And at the time, I was obviously blinded by a lot of things because, he was my first, like, real boyfriend, and I was in love, and I was excited, and, like, all of a sudden I made this group of friends, which, I had a fun college romance, but part of it wasn't fun. Okay, there were a lot of things that weren't okay with my relationship. But anyways, the point of that was that I never, like, I didn't move to New York and I didn't just explore New York. I didn't, like, find all the things I love about it, or I was in a relationship that affected my eating habits, my physical, like, training, exercise, everything. I became diet obsessed. So I never took that opportunity at that age, at 17. I was, like, coming into a young adult. I never took it to explore myself, like, to really discover who I am. And what happened was after this relationship, it was a really bad breakup. I was really hurt, and I was cheated on, lied to. Like, I lost myself. I, like, developed an eating disorder, and I really was lost. And instead of, like, actually dealing with what I went through and actually letting myself feel, I turned to, like, another world. Like, I started partying. I was drinking. I, moved to Manhattan. I was really, like, I had this amazing job. I was, like, on top of everything in my mind. Like, I thought I was, like, on top of everything, but really I was just distracting myself from ever feeling, from ever actually going through my breakup. And if anything, I actually, like, didn't want to be in a relationship. I almost, like, hated men after for a while. And I was abusing myself, like, sexually also, in all different ways. Like, I just didn't treat myself with love. I don't think I ever really loved myself, or, like, let myself love myself. But anyways, because of that, I never dealt with it. And then again, I was in this job. I was hiding away from all of my, like, problems. I never let myself figure out what career do I even want. Like, I remember in college, like, taking this anthropology class, and I loved it. The idea, like, I remember I came home to my parents and I was like, I want to save the chimpanzees. I was obsessed. It was my favorite class in college. And obviously everyone told me, what are you going to do in Africa? Like, that's how you're going to make a living? Like, that's not a future. Like, what do you mean you're going to go save the chimpanzees? And again, like, everything was just impractical. So, of course, I stayed on the route to becoming an accountant. I even remember going to my college career counselor and telling her, and she just looked at my grades. Everything said, no, you're going to stay in accounting. It's practical. As a female, you'll have a good job. You'll be able to take summers off, have kids, blah, blah, blah. Like, the path. Well, my life didn't really go according to that path, clearly. I'm 30 with none of that, which I'm fine with. But the point is that I never really, like, got to fully explore. I was just on this path, like, you're going to do this, 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 that, and get this. Well, in the end, I didn't survive accounting at all. Like, it took control of my life. I got sick from it. I would spend, like, 60, 80 hours a week working. I never had breaks. I became a workaholic, and I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I did learn a ton I don't regret that in my life at all, because it defines who I am today. Like, it's really given me skills and made me, like, I've learned a lot from these experiences. But what happened was I decided to go back to school, because through this process, I put on weight. Obviously, I was really unhappy, and I had to lose all this weight. And so I went through a weight loss journey, which really put me in touch with, like, what's going on in my life. But again, not in, like, it was another distraction. I felt like, oh, I have another plan to follow. I have another weight loss plan. I have another goal. So it was never really coming from inside of me. Through that, though, there were some things I learned that I really enjoyed. Like, I joined a rowing team, and I really loved it. I would get up every morning at, like, 4:30 before work, and I would go row crew. And it was the best feeling. Like, it came from a place where I really, really did love it. I started running. I was boxing, which I really love. But then through the process, it went to another level. I got extreme. I had lost all this weight, and I decided I wanted to go back to school for nutrition. So I made the decision to move to Israel, and I got accepted to a master's program, and I spent 2 years in Chicago taking all the prereqs, which is when I got into bodybuilding, and I took my weight loss to like another level. And it was at the time it felt like the right thing for me. Like, it was really fun. I loved it. Getting up on stage in a bikini, I never did something like that before. It was like a huge boost to my self-confidence, because it had been very low for a while. So, but all these things, I didn't realize that I was hurting myself. I didn't understand that literally until like last week. So anyways, so along with like all these like little distractions in my life, I again moved to Israel, and I never really explored myself living in Israel. I was again on this path. I was in a master's program. So I never really like got to just live in Tel Aviv for fun and then decide if I want to make Aliyah. I didn't just like go to all these parties and stuff. I was a student. I was working so hard. I was like constantly studying, constantly writing. And again, I loved what I learned. I don't regret any of it, but I'm just saying that like I kept like putting myself on these paths. I wasn't just letting myself be and figuring it out from there. It's like I always needed like to know I have something to do. I'm so scared of the unknown. And but when it's weird, because like actually when I travel, I'm the opposite. I don't plan anything. I just like pack a bag and I go, and then I figure everything out there. And I know that like I'm the happiest. Like I'm the happiest with my body, with how I feel, just going with it, like never having a plan, not knowing where I'm gonna sleep or like what I'm gonna do. But in my regular life, no way. Like I have everything planned down. Like I measure my food. Everything is like exact, So I'm realizing slowly that it's not healthy for me at all. And the biggest thing I've learned is through all this is my relationship with myself is really been affected by this. My self-love, feeling like the value that I have for myself or my worth. So my biggest challenge now is what I'm gonna be facing is like learning to really listen to like what I want and only doing what I want, not to anything else. So when it comes to food and exercise, like that's been my biggest breakthrough, I think, yet, is my relationship with it, and always having been on a diet. And as a nutritionist, I love helping other people, but until like it's easy for me to help someone else and not help myself, right? It's always like that. But I realize that no, like I can't do it right now. Like I can't help other people. I don't want to. I want to just focus on me. Like I guess for the first time in my life, like I want to be selfish. I just want to focus on my own health, my own recovery, what I need in my life, and I don't have the space to help anyone else right now.